Welcome, everyone, to today's episode. I'm JJ Flizanes, your host and producer. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today is a live coaching call with one of our Inner Circle members, Nikki. Nikki is in Germany, and she applied to do this before I started the Inner Circle membership over a year ago. And I had changed the rules, so to speak, where I was really only offering these kinds of one-on-one sessions on air to people who were in the Inner Circle membership. So I'm really, really appreciative that as I was rustling through some papers, I found her application and checked back in with her to see if she still wanted to do it. So today's show, while it is about getting more out of relationships, and Nikki wants to talk about manifesting a partner and the right partner for her, as I was editing today's show, I realized that this really can really apply to all people in relationship currently. How do I get more out of my relationship? Because as we know, as we change, so do other people around us. The best thing we can ever do for anybody else is to make us the best we can be. And then we attract better from those who are currently around us. And then we attract more people who are in a higher frequency. So today's episode would be the first of 3 if I was to do this as a true series of coaching sessions, because I want Nikki to do some of the deeper work on looking at core wounds. So she did not do that prior to this because I didn't know what we were going to be talking about necessarily, because there were lots of different topics that we could have discussed on today's coaching. So just know that this is not the end. This would have been the first of what I think is 2 or 3 sessions to get a little deeper, a little more specific about some of the things that are being carried, and even to interweave, again, more astrology, more core wound stuff, and more specific recommendations and habits, and then keeping her accountable moving forward for doing those. So I have just 2 quick announcements to make about stuff that's going on. First of all, so this is a one-on-one coaching session, and my business is changing and it's growing, and I really appreciate that you guys have helped me to do that. I remember my very first live coaching session, in fact, the first 2, you guys wanted me to help you with business. And out of that came a beta mastermind group, and then Inner Circle mastermind, and now an Inner Circle and an emerging business mastermind. So a lot has grown and evolved for me because of you. You told me what you wanted. I gave you what you wanted. And now I'm attracting more and more people who want more and different things. So I will not be doing a lot more one-on-one coaching if you are not in a bigger committed program with me. Right now, I have a 2-session starter pack that will probably go away before the end of the year. So if anyone is on the fence about thinking about doing any sessions with me, I would grab it in the next couple of months because it will be gone, and I won't make a big fuss about it because I don't really have the time to do a ton of them. But if you're interested, you can go to jjflizanes.com/work-with-JJ, and I'll put that link in the show notes. And then a really exciting thing that a lot of you do know is that I've been developing my certification. And this is the time where I'm going to be asking for applications for people who want to do what I do, for want to take the tools that I've used, to take the methods that I am using, and to become an empowerment strategist trainer. Right now, I'm only looking for about 5 or 6 people that I can work with in a small group in a beta test for the next, let's say, 6 or 7 months to sort of work out the kinks. And I don't have it all worked out yet, but I just wanted to let you know, for those of you that are interested, you've heard me talk about it. So if you're ready to go, you can go to jjflizanes.com/cert, CERT, like certification, and fill out the application and see if it's a fit. Again, I'm looking for about 5 or 6 people to work with between April and October to really fine tune this process. It's going to be a working process. So if you want to do what I do, you want to use these tools, you want to become a trainer, you want to do it in this way, this would be the time to get involved now, at least if you're really interested, so you can help me design this program. And while it is a beta, it won't be a next to nothing beta. There'll be a lot of time spent with me and with a small group in using the tools on yourself and then coaching each other and then working through the process. So if that's of interest to you, I'll talk more about that in the weeks to come. I will cut off the date to April 1st. That's when I want to start working with these 5 or 6 people. And the reason why I'm not sure if it's 5 or 6, because I'm going to the application will be very serious in that I think someone's ready, they're dedicated, they're willing, and they will do what's necessary, both for themselves as well as for their clients. So that's jjflizanes.com/ cert, CERT. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope that at least the questions that I ask are applicable to you in your life. And Nikki, I look forward to continuing this journey with you and getting to the next step. Welcome to the show, Nikki.
Hi.
Hi. So today's show is a live coaching session with Nikki, and she has been in, well, let's back up to the very beginning. How long have you been a listener of one of the shows?
Probably like 14 months or like 1 year and a half.
Okay. And which show did you find first?
Fit to Love.
Oh,
I don't remember how though. It just popped up in my feed, and since then I was listening.
and so is it still Fit to Love that you listen to, or did you move over to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy?
No, it's mostly Fit to Love.
Okay, great. All right. So it's been about a year and a half, and you joined the Inner Circle membership maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah, something like that. It was for the intuition course.
Ah, right, because you got a bonus to be in the group.
Yes.
So you took the intuition course, you're in the inner circle, and we're having, and actually, Nikki filled out this application prior to joining the inner circle membership. And I happened to be going through some of my old applications and emails and saw it, and I knew it was her because she lives in Germany. And so I was like, I think this is you. And because she's in the inner circle, I have said that I would do these on air live coaching sessions with people who are in the inner circle membership. So, Nikki, why don't you start off by telling me today and the audience what it is you want to work on specifically in this session today?
I was thinking about it a lot actually, because I'm in a very, how to say, my process is going, like it's very fluid and a lot is happening right now. I'm in therapy since August, I think, and a lot of stuff has been unraveled and things are just happening. But the big thing, which I don't think I will discuss with my therapist, is my love life. So I noticed this pattern of me being very attractive to certain men, but it's always without commitment. It's like for a short period of time, we're like very attracted to each other and also very like into each other. It's very intense. It's a lot of attraction. Let's put it like that. But it's always this pattern of 3 to maximum 6 months, and then it's just over for whatever reason. Mostly the guys lose interest or don't want to commit or something like that. And then I'm somewhat heartbroken actually, because I really pour my heart into those relationships as well. And yeah, I just realized the pattern, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. So I would like to work on that.
Okay. And I have a question. Why do you feel like you wouldn't take this to your therapist?
She's specialized on trauma. So we're working a lot on my trauma with my mom, and also like other things that happened to me. But I don't know. I mean, it's something which affects my life in a way, obviously, but I don't know.
That's okay. That's honest. That's honest. I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask because you did state that
Yeah.
you wouldn't take this to her.
Yeah, but it just feels like a separate area of my life, which I'm not ready to tackle with her right now, but I want to tackle it in general, if that makes sense. Because we're like really diving deep into the whole trauma thing and like working with the body and how to release trauma and stuff. But she knows though I'm here. Like I told her all about you and about this session, and she was very excited for me. I was like, yeah, tell me all about it.
Okay, well, you can share the session with her if you feel confident about that when we're done with it. So I want to go back to, since you've been listening for a while, a year and a half, definitely, what was before a year and a half ago. Had you ever gone back to hear the very first episode I did with Harville Hendrix on your relationship explained?
No.
All right. So Harville Hendrix created a therapy called Imago, and it's spelled IMAGO. That's in the image of. And the basic principles that we choose partners to heal the wounds of our past. I'm going to go as far to say we choose everybody in our life to heal the wounds of our past. It doesn't matter who it is, but when you choose somebody, there's some kind of attachment from a core wound that was created when you were growing up that you're now seeking to resolve in someone else. And when we choose these partners, we have this sort of subconscious imprinting that happens. We recognize that that person is like our caregivers that wounded us. So we think, oh, here's a person who is like that person who now can give me what I didn't get. The problem is that you're choosing a person who's like that other person and they can't give you what you didn't get. And the process of, in the relationship therapy aspect of Imago, is that you take two people who chose each other, again, subconsciously, knowing that they needed to heal their stuff. We find out through relationship that just without doing any work, those two people can't give each other what they want because those are their deepest wounds. And through the process of giving to each other against and having like resistance to doing the thing that they need, but it's also a thing that we need to heal the most. So I love this work because when I did it, I found it to be very freeing, and it gave a reason to why I was doing some patterns in my life. Like when I didn't get what I wanted, I would educate people. Well, I kept choosing people that didn't want to be educated and not saying that I knew better, but just to say, well, if you look at it this way, let me help fix this. And of course, me being a rescuer, I would want to fix them so that they would then give me love or have more connection or a deeper connection and intimacy with me. So I think that, one of the things I would definitely recommend after this call for you is to buy the Getting the Love You Want workbook from Harville Hendrix and to go through the Creating Your Imago exercise. You don't have to be in a relationship. And that's where I screwed up, if you will, or I was, everything's in divine and perfect timing. So there are no mistakes, only lessons. But if I had to go back, I would have done the work myself earlier. I kept thinking I had to wait to be in a relationship to do the work. And once I did the work in a relationship, I realized, oh my God, everyone should be doing this work. This tells you so much about why you choose your friends, why you choose your job, why you choose everything, because it's all to heal what you didn't get when you were young. So for one of your caregivers, both of your caregivers, all of your caregivers possibly wounded you. Unbeknownst to them, they did the best they could. They didn't try to wound you. And I'm looking at your astrology as a Cancer sun, an Aries moon, and a Virgo rising. So let's just unpack that for a second. So Cancers are very emotional. You're the least developed water sign. What that means is you're more young and let's just say new to the world. Like Aries is considered the infant of astrology. It's the first sign, which makes Aries a little impatient. And you have Aries in your moon, which is your emotion, right? So being impatient and also an all or nothing kind of like yes or no, right or wrong, left or right. So Aries can be great for taking action, but can also flip-flop and do an all or nothing, which again presents opportunity for growth as well as an awareness. Your Cancer is the fourth sign. It's the very first water sign, and Cancers feel so deeply and they have a desire to nurture and be nurtured. And a lot of times I find that many Cancers give love because they think if they give it, then they'll receive it. And there's this unspoken agreement that gets made that if I do all these things for you, well, obviously you're going to do all these things for me, right? But again, it's operating from the place of that everybody thinks the same way, acts the same way, believes the same way, feels the same way. So Cancers often get caught in a victim mentality of being victimized by everybody, pretty much. In astrology, quickly, for those of you that haven't heard the story, and I do have an astrology course, there are 3 sections of the line. I don't believe it's a wheel. Yes, the calendar is a wheel, but in astrology, Aries is the first, Pisces is the last. It's an evolution. And when you start at the beginning and you see it in sections, so fire, earth, air, and water repeat itself 3 times. We have first stage, second stage, and third stage. And just like a snowball, every sign gets more and more complex and takes everyone's good and bad traits with them. So Aries is the cleanest, but also the least patient and has the least, let's say, layers to process, especially emotionally. And Pisces has everybody's good stuff and bad stuff. So that's why half the time, water signs can get easily depressed and sunk into their emotions and get swept up because they're bombarded with not knowing how to handle all the feelings that are happening to them. So what I used to joke about is that as a Pisces, that's how somebody got me into astrology. Actually, somebody said to me, "What's your sign?" This is 30 years ago, maybe not 30, maybe 25 years ago. And she said, she was a trainer at the gym I was working at. And she said, "What's your sign?" Very confidently. And I said, "Pisces." And she said, "Oh, you're the doormat of the signs. You're the toilet bowl." And I was like, "What?" And I immediately said, "Well, what are you?" And she said, "I'm an Aries. We're the leaders." And I was like, man, I'm going to go learn about astrology because there's something off about this. And that was kind of what, like, so that was, yes, Aries can be leaders, but at the same time, Aries can be arrogant. Aries can be impatient. Aries can be black or white and get stuck in all or nothing. So there's positive and negative to all signs. There's no good or bad. It's just knowing it can empower you to understand yourself better so you know what to do, like when to nurture yourself. So as a Cancer, let me ask you, do you search for others to nurture you, or do you nurture you?
I'm trying to nurture myself, but it's been a process. So it doesn't come natural to me, but I had to learn it, and I still have to learn it. And I really have to focus on it to not just run to my roomies and be like, so this happened, please give me love.
Yeah. And and obviously you're taking all the right steps. You're in therapy and you're in the inner circle. You're doing the work. I know that you've asked me for certain worksheets and things so that you can be doing stuff on your own. So I know that you're in action, and I feel that you really want it, and I know you're committed to it. So you are taking care of yourself. So it would be looking at the next ways in which, and again, this session would be great with a follow-up after you do the Imago work, because I would really love you to have that moment. And it takes about, I would say, a half an hour to an hour for you to go through the worksheet of creating your own Imago, because what you start to see is patterns. So without doing it, without knowing anything about it, and I did do 2 sessions with Harville and Helen about this work. So I would definitely recommend that you go back and find those. The first one was called Your Relationship Explained. It's about an hour and 18 minutes. It's worth listening to several times. It has so many nuggets of wisdom and greatness in it. And then the second was something about Doug. It was me and Doug and Helen and Harville. And it was right after we got back from the weekend. But I will make sure that I send it to you because I'm having a hard time remembering what that title was called. And then we had a third one called Safe Conversations. But it's the first 2 that I want you to focus on. To listen to, and then go and do the creating your Imago exercise. So without doing it, without knowing anything about it, what would you say is the one thing that you felt you did not get growing up that you desperately wanted?
Safety. Yeah, I think it's safety and acceptance, maybe.
Great. Okay. So safety and acceptance. So what would that look like for you to have safety and acceptance now?
Oh, that's a tough one, JJ. I didn't expect that. Well,
Well,
no,
in order
I'm joking. I did expect that.
Did you? Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, not that question, but questions I have to think about. I don't know, probably me accepting myself and not looking for that and for safety outside of myself. I mean, I know that by intellect and by logic. I mean, I've done enough work to know that, but it doesn't feel right. So the question would be, how can I actually feel safe and accept it?
Yes. And well, let me back up a second. What are your love languages?
Physical touch, words of affirmation,
Okay, let's stop
and
there.
quality
Great.
time. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's just start with touch and words, or let's just do with words. Okay, so how often is your self-talk positive or negative? Like which one is dominant?
I'd say actually the positive is more dominant, just because I try to really focus on it. So whenever I look in the mirror, I'll be like, yeah, looking good. And also, I have a daily practice of just putting my hands on my heart and telling myself that I'm safe, that I'm loved, that I'm awesome, and so on.
Beautiful. Excellent. Okay, cool. All right. So now we have that we're consciously aware that you're doing practices to strengthen your love of yourself and the words of affirmation towards yourself. Yes? Okay. So now what have you been noticing any manifestations in your life that contradict that?
You mean where I don't feel safe for whatever reason or don't feel accepted?
Yes, and possibly like other people not doing that for you, or choosing the wrong people, or are there any manifestations of relationship or things happening that are the opposite of that?
Well, the last relationship, I think I might have like dropped something about it in the circle, but I'm not too sure. It was really fast. It was really beautiful. We were on the same path, both wounded, but kind of doing the work more or less. Me probably more than him. And then he just ran away. So it feels like I opened myself. I let myself feel. I let myself yeah, I just opened up about many things and like all that stuff. And well, I mean, I've been disappointed again. Like he just ran. Maybe I mean, it feels like the whole belief system of me being too much to handle, of me not being good enough, of me not being able to be loved, like all these things were just reinforced. And this happened like late November.
Okay, I wanted you to repeat those three beliefs that you just had. That you are too much. What else did you just say?
Not good enough,
Not good enough. Okay, what else?
and that it's impossible to love me.
Okay. All right, possible to love me. All right. So here are three words of not affirmation, beliefs that you have about yourself. That, by the way, and I want to make this clear to everyone who's listening and to you also, Nikki. While I love talking about the work and doing the work and that we have to have a breakdown before we have a breakthrough, and there's an intellectual side and then there's an emotional side and then there's like this slap in your face, like time to wake up side, we all have wounds and none of us are broken. So even though there is trauma, so let's look at trauma for a second. And we don't need to go down that path. You're already working with somebody, but just I want to reframe something. Do you believe that you're here one time and then you're done? No more. You're gone. This is it.
No.
Okay. All right. So do you believe that you are here to learn a lesson and share your gifts and expand and elevate consciousness?
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. Great. So in that focal point, then the things that you're learning right now and the things that have happened to you have a purpose. They're not random. And while they may be unfortunate, they were necessary. I think it was the Big Leap worksheet that you asked for from me, correct? That we talked about on a coaching call once in the inner circle. Is that something I've sent to you recently?
No, I think it was the needs
Feelings
and
and
emotions.
needs. Yeah. Okay. So, we look at the things that stop us from growing and the beliefs and the four core beliefs that stop us from growing or receiving more love, success, joy, and abundance are, and this comes out of the Big Leap by Kay Hendricks, are that I feel fundamentally flawed. Success brings a bigger burden. The crime of outshining, so you don't want to outshine somebody else, and disloyalty and abandonment. So success or opening yourself up or being who you are would mean people will reject you. People who you know and love will leave you. So those are the four core beliefs that keep us in the place that we're in. And you just said that and I know because I feel and have felt the same way, that you're too much to handle, that you're not good enough, and that it's impossible to love you.
And also another one I just want to add is that it's not worth it to do the work with me. Like that's a very big belief that came up as well. Just sorry for interrupting.
No. It's your coaching session, honey. Don't worry. All right. So we
Okay.
have these four beliefs. I'm too much. I'm not good enough. It's impossible to love me. And it's not worth it to do the work with me. All right. So let's talk about your relationship to law of attraction. What's your relationship to understanding law of attraction in a couple sentences?
I mean, I do believe in the law of attraction somewhat. I do believe that my vibe attracts what, like the outside world. But I also think that it's not that much about the actual thing that I want to attract. But I think you always say it's about the feeling, to focus on the feeling. So it will be more of it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm trying not to focus on like manifesting money or abundance or whatever, but it's just to feel financially secure, whatever that might look like. Yeah, and also think that I have many limiting beliefs though that are blocking like this kind of abundance, but also love and like all those things. But I'm not sure if it's not too deep rooted inside of me, that I can like reprogram it with affirmations or something. Like I feel like it's some deeper work. Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both. There is a need for some redirection in the brain and new neural pathways, but you can get there by, again, taking action and making choices based on the pivoting from these beliefs. So do you really believe that you're too much?
No.
Okay, so we have to stop saying that. And when you say that, see, what happened is you gave the power away. You made that this guy ran away from you your fault. Versus I asked you about the law of attraction is because at every stage of growth, we attract like-minded vibrations. But as you keep growing, those vibrations, those people go away. If they're not on the same path and they don't move with you, then all of a sudden that's one of the things, especially as I have 3 Sages and an Aries with my Pisces, right? So there's a lot of fire, and I'm highly committed, and I'm highly curious, and I want to learn, and I'm very passionate. And so throughout my life, as I continue to grow and grow and grow, like things shifted around me, people shifted around me. And I kept thinking, well, it must be me. I'm the common denominator. And I'm not saying that it isn't me. It is me, but it isn't necessarily a bad thing because I keep growing and not everybody around me wants to do what I'm doing. So while, as Abraham says, there's not that many people on the leading edge, I still want to choose people who are on the leading edge. I want to only have conversations with people. I want to work with people who are willing to take responsibility for every single thing they attract and not blame or be victims. And when you make those kinds of choices, and you can see when you get back the opposite of that, then you can see where you're being that, and where in your life that is a mirror for you to say, oh, in this situation I was a little bit desperate. In this situation I didn't believe in myself. In this situation I allowed myself to allow in things that I normally wouldn't, and not beating yourself up, but moving through that into the next stage of saying, okay, so I learned that lesson. Contrast helps us to be clear and clarify what we do want. So I know you don't believe you're too much, because if you did, you wouldn't be trying. I know that you're whole as you are. I know you're special in who you are and that you have lots of gifts to give to this world. I know that you want an amazing relationship and nothing less. So what is the challenge for you at this point is to be more, in business, there's something called a pre-qualification. So, and it's like really in my head right now, this red hot moment, like pre-qualify. I'm going to say the same in this relationship. And that's, we can say you have to have better boundaries. We have to be clear about what we're willing to put up with and look at the red flags in front of us, which is why when I do the Imago work with people, either individually or I'm getting ready to in the future, do it in a group, it's because I want you to claim and know what your core wounds are, because they follow you everywhere. They follow you in business. They follow you in relationships, all relationships, friendships, sibling relationships, spouse and dating. Your core wounds follow you until you address them and you give yourself that which you want from others. And so in the situation with the people that you keep attracting, I think it's well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I'm going to ask you. So let's go to the next one, because I want you to take these 4 beliefs and I want you to work with them and I want you to affirm them. I want you not only to affirm, I am not too much. I am perfect the way that I am. I am full of love. I want you to affirm all the things about you that are great, that you love about yourself, that you deeply know, that you don't want to admit to out loud because maybe you think someone will judge you. They'll criticize you for thinking you're arrogant or that you like yourself too much or any of those things. Because most of the time, when people play small, it's because you don't want to be criticized by somebody else. So we play small, we play dumb, we play less than what we are, but then we suffer. And then we blame everybody else who doesn't get us. So in order to step into and to claim that, because I see a great relationship for you, but you have to step up first and believe it and be it and emanate it and not wait for someone else to agree with you. That is the work, is knowing who you are and being okay with the ones that don't fit, the ones that aren't right, because you don't want to waste your time with someone who doesn't want to do the work with you. I was in that situation, and I was committed for forever, but I decided to say, I have a whole life ahead of me and I deserve to have somebody who wants to do the work with me. And now I do. And he is committed to doing the work, and it's a completely different situation. Now I needed person A to get me to person B. I needed the contrast of person A to get me to person B, because I wouldn't be the person I am without the contrast that I had. So for you, I want you to take these. So let's go to the next one. Do you really believe you're not good enough?
No, I know I am good enough.
Okay. Next one. Are you impossible to love?
No, I'm endlessly loved.
No, I don't want.
That sounds so stupid.
No. Okay, but here's where people go awry here. You're trying. I don't want you to affirm it when you don't believe it. I want you to find how you can believe it. Remember the episode I did recently called "How Can I?" Mm-hmm. I want you to take the same principles. How can I love myself more? How can I acknowledge the things that I do well? What reasons do you think that you're impossible to love? Tell me.
I'm loud. I'm obnoxious, you say in English, I think. I've been called that, even though that's not my first language. I'm impatient. I'm overly sensitive. I'm annoying. I'm like a child. So many reasons.
Okay, great. I have loud, obnoxious, impatient, sensitive, and like a child.
Yeah.
Okay, loud. You are passionate and excited. Obnoxious. You are boisterous and full of life. You are impatient. You want what you want and you're clear and you're focused. You're sensitive, you have deep feelings, and feelings are about life, and they're never going to be all good or all bad. It's going to ebb and flow, and you embrace your emotions, which so many people run from and use many kinds of addictions, from control addictions, being a victim and blaming others, using substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs, watching too much television, being a workaholic and never taking time off, never sitting still. There are so many ways that we deny our own feelings. When you have your feelings, embrace them. They are there to guide you. You don't sit in them or get drowned by them, but you embrace them and say, I cried this morning. And I showed my group that I was crying because I was sad. And I'm like, guys, this is business. This is life. And this is growth. And you're not going to grow without these growing pains. But when you embrace that that's part of the journey, you do it. And for people run from their feelings. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to be confronted. They don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to be honest because they're afraid of how they'll feel. So they avoid feeling. But you can't outrun your feelings. So I would embrace your sensitivity as a superpower. I am sensitive. I do care. I have a lot of love to give. Why wouldn't you want all the love that I have to give? And then sometimes you act like a child. Okay, so you can say, but at the same time, so what does that mean, acting like a child? Like, you tell me what that means.
So I used to be really bad at accepting boundaries and also like being empathetic enough when someone doesn't want to be teased or doesn't want to be annoyed. I can be really annoying if I'm like bored or something. I also have ADHD that doesn't help. So I literally can be sometimes like a 5-year-old just, I don't know, asking 17 times why just to annoy someone.
Okay, so that's something you can say. I'm not going to spin that one positive. I'm just going to say all I'm going to say is, if you're aware of that, then know that why, ask yourself, well, why do I do that? Why do you do that?
Attention seeking.
Okay, so if you know that you're trying to get attention, how about leave everybody else alone and give yourself attention, or ask for what you want? Hey, like this morning, I rolled over and I said to Doug, "Can you please hold me?" And I said, "Okay, I'm going to turn over now. Can you hold me this way?" And I used to do that before, and I usually can ask for what I want. And that's another thing that a lot of people have a problem with, is that they assume everybody else is going to give them what they want without them having to ask for it. So here we are. And that underneath you being annoying and jabbing somebody is that you just want attention. So can you just, instead of doing it, catch yourself and say, I'd really love your attention right now. Would it be possible for you and I to spend some time talking or taking a walk or playing a game? Or would you be willing to give me some attention? I mean, could you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the bottom line for some of this stuff. Your core belief, your core wound is that you're too much, you're not good enough, I'm impossible to love, and I don't believe that anyone wants to do the work with me. Okay, those are beliefs that you continue to attract people that prove you right. Now, I know that you know that's not the truth. I know without a shadow of a doubt that's not the truth. So what is there any fear or resistance for claiming what is the truth?
I don't know, maybe just the fact that it's happening again and again. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but so with that guy and with the boyfriend I had before, when I was in my semester abroad and started listening to you, it's been both like, okay, I've done so much work. Like, this is finally happening to me. Like, I've done enough work to actually deserve this person in my life. And they both, they didn't tell me they don't want to do the work. It's been the opposite. Like, it seemed like we will grow together and everything, and then it just fell apart. So it really felt like just all the stuff I worked on just came back at me and was like, yeah, you really thought you're better? Well, here we are again.
So let me ask you, why is it your fault and not theirs? And I'm not trying to blame them and take it off of you, but why is it about you and not about what they could handle?
Well, even if it's about them and what they could handle, they couldn't handle me because I'm too much. Like, however I put it, it's always about me, not either being too much or not worth it to actually like work there and heal through it.
So I'm hearing a deep need for just love and connection, deep need for love and connection. And I'm sure you've probably heard Abraham say that we're all looking for love in all the wrong places. What are you doing to pre-qualify these guys? Do you have a list of the things that you want in a partner? Do you know what the attributes would be of somebody? You know, I did this exercise with my very first coach that I had 20 years ago. And it was about friends because again, I was going through the growing pains of continuing to grow and grow and grow and learn and learn and learn and do and do and do and question. And the people around me, they didn't want to question themselves. They wanted to stay, victim to all their shit. And I didn't want to be in that situation anymore, but I also wanted a friend. I wanted the intimacy. I wanted to have connection with people. I didn't want to not be connected. And that's been a theme for a while that I've worked through and continue to refine and manifest. But at the same time, when she said to me, well, who do you want to be friends with? What are their qualities? And when I started listening to who they were empowered. They were curious. They were action takers. They were people who were aware of their feelings and took responsibility. They were goal driven, but not, obsessed. They had balance in their life. Like all the things that I listed, when I looked back at everyone who was my quote unquote friend, none of them had that. And then when I looked at the people in my life who did have that, I at the time wasn't quote unquote attracted to them. Like I didn't know because I was just manifesting by default. I would have people come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I want to just be like you. I want to be like you." And so I thought, "Oh, well, that's good. Okay, cool. Like you can be my friend. You want to be like me. That's awesome." But then inevitably, it always backfired. At the end of any of those relationships, if you're telling me you want to be like me, and okay, great, then here's what I do. And here's what we're going to do for you. And at some point, I would push too far and push too hard. And they would say, I'm not your sister. I'm not, you push me too hard. I don't want to do that. I can't do what you do. And the relationship would end. And so I'd have to say, well, all right, how did I attract this? Well, I attracted it by default because I didn't say in the beginning the kind of person that I wanted to, I didn't look at their attributes and decide if we were in alignment. I just took whoever was, hanging on me at the time because I didn't know any better. So once I knew better, then I did better. And the same thing in relationship. When you look at what's the quality of someone who you want to be in partnership with. So tell me now, what are the qualities? What are the things? Give me 3 things that the partner that you're going to be with has to have. It's a deal breaker if they don't have these 3 things. They're musts.
Compassionate, loving, and I don't know, is caring the same as compassionate in English? Because it's different in German.
Well, compassionate and loving could kind of be the same thing. So why don't would patient be one of them?
Maybe.
Well, compassionate could be patient, right? If someone has compassion for you, they have the wherewithal in the moment to take a stance and feel into where you're coming from. And so to me, compassionate could also be patient.
Yeah, like empathetic as well. Is that also an attribute?
Yeah. Compassionate, patient, empathetic. Yeah.
Okay, so compassionate it is then. So yeah, maybe then full of joy and full of life. I don't know how to say it, but be just happy in general and a happy person.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have that you need to show compassion. They need to be loving. Let's define loving a little bit more specifically. How would they show being loving to you?
By trying to understand me and my traumas and learning my love language, but also receiving love from me by me understanding their trauma and their love language and so on.
Okay, so they're in this loving component. I'm hearing that they need to have a certain amount of consciousness, awareness, and also for them to be conscious about their patterns and about the work, if you will, the psychology, of behavior, of relationships. They have to sort of be interested in and curious, if you will. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so let's make it compassionate, which is going to encompass patient and loving. Let's make it curious and conscious. I'm putting that on line 2. It's really 2 separate things. And then let's make they're full of life and they have joy. So that's a great list. Now, the last couple guys that you attracted, are they that?
Yeah, at least that's what I thought.
Okay. Until they weren't.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And it sounds like that they were at first and then until they weren't. And so didn't they do you a favor by kind of leaving because they didn't fit this bill?
Yeah, I mean, they did do me the favor of leaving. especially the last one. But yeah, as I said, it's also the belief of me not being worth the work. Because I know each and every relationship is work at some point. Like, I mean, it's not always rainbows, and I don't know, loving touch. I'm aware of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it usually there's a honeymoon phase and the first, couple months or a year is great and grand and everything, like you get all the love languages and then sort of the dust settles and then, all the things emerge. And it happens in every relationship. It's just whether or not we deal with it and we process it and we learn from it, or we deny it, we suppress it and we run away from it. So if you at least go in with the understanding that all relationships are going to reflect back at you any core wounds that you haven't healed within your past, meaning, and again, everyone, when I say core wounds and healing, you're not broken. And I want everyone to stop acting as if you're broken. The awareness of core wounds are just that when you were younger, you didn't get something from your parents. We all did not get something from our parents. Every single one of us share in our lives some kind of something that happened to us that we wanted and we didn't get. Okay. So now it's just our job to get it and to give it to ourselves and to not blame those people and to, they did the best they could. We're doing the best we can. So it's time for us to stop blaming everybody and take it upon ourselves. So anytime you're dealing in a relationship, you're either going to have the lessons mirrored to you. Usually the thing that you want to complain about the other person is the thing you don't like within yourself. But at the end of the day, we have to come back to who we are and what we believe about ourselves because we're the only ones who can deal with us. There is no amount of love and attention you're going to get from someone else that will sustain your belief in your worthiness. We have to create the worthiness, and it's not even creating. You have to be in alignment with it. It's already there. And I know you know this, but for everyone else who's listening, if you don't believe in your worthiness, why would anybody else? So we have to come from a solid ground of, yes, you're doing the work and you're feeling better and you're getting clearer and you're proud of yourself. And so, Nikki, what I want you to do is to continue to affirm that. Every day I'm learning something. Every day I'm learning something. No, the learning doesn't end. Right? It doesn't mean it has to be exhausting either, by the way. It's just the relationship with the work. It's just knowing that life, we're either growing or we're not. We're either growing or dying or standing still or stuck. So, all right. So I'm on the path and today I feel good. And today I'm learning a lesson. Oh my God, yesterday I felt terrible. And what did I learn? I learned a lesson. And okay, cool. I now know what I want to make better next time. And I let my feelings out. So when you're talking about not being good enough and being too much, when you continue to make that your reality, then you're going to continue, because that's what you believe, that's what you're going to continue to attract. So I think your work, besides getting the Love You Want workbook and creating your imago, so you can see the pattern and really identify some of those core wounds that you have. And there's usually a couple big ones. And again, like I said, Gay Hendricks and the Big Leap lists 4, but that's in relationship to success. But I think they all still apply, that success brings a bigger burden, the crime of outshining, the disloyalty and abandonment, and the fundamentally flawed. Okay, those are pretty 4 core beliefs that pretty much everybody probably has. So if you felt invisible in your life, your parents didn't pay attention to you, or if you feel like they judged you and they kept trying to fix you, and so then you think you're flawed. Again, these are the core wounds that we can help make better within ourselves by taking the action steps needed in our own lives, by reflecting back to us that those aren't true. Like, I know those aren't true. So I don't want you to say intellectually they're not true. I want you to make peace with them. I want you to deeply take them in and ask yourself why you make the choices that you make in all things. In guys, like when you're going to look for a relationship, ask yourself, am I doing this out of desperation? When you want to say something bad about somebody, is it because they hurt you and you feel like that's how you're going to get them back, is to hurt them back? I'm not saying you personally. I'm just, again, overgeneralizing that this is what I want you to get more curious about. When you have an impulse for something, where's it coming from? And is it coming from this place of all these negative beliefs about yourself? Or is it coming from, and be honest about those emotions, and you have the feelings and needs list. So, what is it that you need? You said security, safety. You needed safety in your childhood and you didn't get your safety. So what is providing yourself safety look like right now?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. So let's talk about in how do you handle relationships? Like how are you dating or finding these people, and what's the process for you?
Online dating. And I mean, I'm not looking actively for a relationship, but it's more about meeting interesting people in general, especially when traveling, but also when I'm back in here in Germany as right now. And yeah, it's mostly about like hanging out, and then eventually it clicks and feels right.
Okay. And are there like, do you have questions on your profile, or do you kind of have a series of questions that you ask someone again to quote unquote pre-qualify them as someone who is a potential partner for you?
I mean, I started to use Bumble now, which has like the questions of what makes a relationship great. And I put there like basic communication, attachment style, and love languages. So I feel like people who know those areas already do know a lot. And it's also like also put in there that I'm curious about the universe and stuff, but it's not like the requirement. It's just something which is in my profile.
Do you think we could make your profile more, or once you get some like connections with some people, is there room to sort of take that next step of questioning? Like, would you feel comfortable or asking situational like things, right? So for instance, like like asking someone when you get into conflict, how do you handle it? Do you have a process for conflict resolution? How do you process your emotions? How do you deal with your emotions? How do you express your emotions? These questions for me would have uncovered stuff a long time ago that I kind of assumed. And again, I know you make an ass out of you and me. No one should ever assume. And I think I'm pretty good most of the time of asking questions. But as I keep learning still that sometimes I have this, we all only operate most of the time from what we think and what we know and how we act in the world and what we expect. And sometimes we think it's not even necessary to check in with someone else because, well, of course you believe this the same way. Like in my past relationship, I thought, well, when you get married, you if something is going wrong, you fix it. End of story. Like, you just commit it for the rest of your life. You fix it. You go to therapy. You talk about it. You find the tools. To me, it didn't compute that someone could not say no to that or not want to do it or give up or walk away. It didn't compute for me, which is, so I was like, I just had to learn how to wrap my head around how someone else has a very, very different relationship with the idea of commitment and the level of happiness someone like decides that they want for themselves, and how much responsibility they either take or blame on other people in that process. So for you, there might be a need moving forward. Like, so there's a couple things going on. Let's kind of go back to the beginning here. Number one, I want you to do that Imago, creating your Imago exercise in the workbook. And it's about 6 pages. And what you'll end up with is why you keep choosing, and the common thread between the people you keep choosing and why, and what you're trying to heal. And you'll identify that throughout the process. But more importantly, you'll get to pick out the core wounds, the things that your deepest childhood things that didn't happen for you. And that list, I promise, shows up in every aspect of your life if it's unhealed or unexamined. So that's an important thing for you to know and sort of reflect on. It might be a huge game changer for you. I'd love to see you let go of an identification of that you've had trauma and somehow you're broken. You've had trauma and you're excelling. So, right, so this whole idea that I'm too much, I'm not good enough, I want you to work with those. Then when you hear them come up, I want you to stop in your tracks, put your hands up and say, stop. I am perfect the way that I am. I am whole. I have all the best desires and intentions. I want to be happy. I want to give to others. I want to be given to. I want to have a happy life. What's not good enough about that? So when you want to take it in, I was working with someone recently, and she she's done a lot of great work over the last couple of years, and she was with some family, and she chose to wear an outfit because she felt good in her body finally. And somebody made a comment like, what do you think, you're 20? And I said to her, okay, she did take it in for half a second, but I said, next time, like, that's a quick one to realize that person's jealous. Like, it's not about you. When someone's criticizing you, when someone is telling you, calling you names or saying bad things about you, I promise you, even if you did the things that they said, it's not about you. But when we take it on every time as if it's all like and you can take it on and try it on and say, is this true? Is this true? And if it's true, awesome. And if it's not true, then it isn't about you. And and here's what I'm going to call bullshit. And I want you to call bullshit on yourself. It's not true. You're not too much. You're good enough. You know that you're not impossible to love. You are a pleasure to love because you have so much to give. It's for you finding the right communication style, finding the right match, if you will. And then owning your stuff when it comes up, not blaming somebody else, not calling victim to somebody else. Like, ask yourself, how did I attract this? What is it about the situation? What am I supposed to learn and grow from? What is it that I want that I'm not getting that now I can see more clearly? And in the not wanting to do the work, I tried at the beginning. I thought too, I was like, hey, let's do the work. And I did all these contracts and stuff that you would think would have set the tone for let's do the work, but it's not an end all. So all you can do is commit to hopefully asking that if someone's open to working on their relationship. I would invite you to, in future conversations with guys or any relationship, just have that, like, how do you, again, the things I just said, how do you handle contrast? How do you handle conflict? What are your go-to habits in conflict? Are you someone who likes to lean in and talk about it? Or do you get mad and walk away? Are you someone that sweeps it under the rug and just thinks it's going to go away? Like, if you ask those questions, you're going to get a picture about that person right away. Doug's ex, every time they would have an argument, he'd say, well, I want to talk about it. I understand why. And she's like, no, I need to process. I can't talk about it right now. And they would never get back to talking about it. She never came back. Like, every issue was, oh no, I have to go process. But then there was never any resolution. There was never any conversation. So there was never going to be any growth there because she didn't want to talk about it. And so we have, that's an indication when you see that of this isn't a match. And I think at the end, also underneath this for you, Nikki, is that constant deeper trust that that this is not your first time here. It's not your last time here. That you are whole and perfect just the way you are. You are full of light and love, and that you have a lot to give somebody, and that there's nothing wrong with that. And it's going to take a special person of the same frequency as you to receive it and give it back. And in the greatest amount of respect and love that you can give yourself is to fine tune your boundaries and say no to anything less than exactly what you want. That is the biggest way to give yourself love, and again, we all learn it in different ways at different times in different parts of life, from business to personal. And this conversation keeps, fine tuning again, the amount of love and respect you have for yourself to only invite in that which is of like vibration, so that and it doesn't mean anyone's wrong or bad. It just means it's just not a fit. If you go into a conversation and say, I'm wounded and I have trauma, and you're looking for other trauma, there's a likelihood the two of you are going to stay in trauma. And that's going to be the excuse every time. Oh, I'm wounded. I'm wounded. Oh, we're both wounded. And then it's like, okay, so what? What are we going to do about it? Yes, we both have hurt feelings in our past about something. Now what? And I know you have the tools, and I know you have the desire and the drive, and I know you have the commitment, because I've seen your growth. I remember when you were in the Manifestation Challenge and writing about relationships, then you joined the Inner Circle, and I've seen your posts, and I've been on the calls, and you're working with somebody right now regularly. I see your growth. I believe in you. I know that you believe in you. So I want you to stop playing small and act as if like you're a charity case. You deserve to have what you want, and you can get what you want, but you have to embody what you want. You have to stand in your power and say, I am not too much. I am perfect the way I am. And you know what? So let's take me as an example. So I have these 3 Sages that just want to shoot an arrow through people at times. It's abrasive. It's direct. People don't like it when they don't want to hear it. And other people love it because they finally feel free that they have an answer. So it's either I'm going to piss people off or they're going to love me. And there's kind of nothing in between. And so that's hard to live with sometimes, because I'm a Pisces, and so I'm sensitive, and so I care. And if people don't feel my caring, it doesn't mean I'm not going to feel my feelings and be sad from time to time. But in order for me to, again, feel like I'm serving people, I just got this amazing testimonial today from Crystal, who is beating me over the head about how much her life has changed over the last 2 years, every part of it. And I started to cry, and I thanked her, and I said, thank you. I needed that. Because it was a reminder of all the good I'm doing, even though there will be times where I'm going to piss people off and they're not going to like it because I don't want to deal with their shit. And it may not be that I'm right or whatever. It just means that what I see is not being received. And that's okay. So, but I don't want you to shrink back and wait for permission is the point. I don't want you to wait for permission from some other person to say, Nikki, you know what? You are good enough and you aren't too much and you are a joy to love and I want to do the work with you. I want you to step into your life saying, knowing all these things, but I want you to ask yourself how, if I believe this, so this is what I'm going to ask you right now as we finish up today. If you were to fully embrace that you are not, that you are just perfect the way you are, that you are good enough, not only are you good enough, you are great, and that you are not impossible to love, you are easy to love because you are such a lover and you want to give love and you're going to be there for that person, you're going to nurture them, and that you're committed to doing the work, you're committed to freedom, you're committed to love and to care and to truth. If you were to fully step into that right now and claim that without apology, what would you need to do differently that you're not doing?
I don't know. Maybe stop wasting my time on like useless conversations and casual dating and just going for what I really want and looking for the connection instead of, well, he seems nice enough.
I'm looking for my bell. Hold on. Yes, I want to ding to that. Where's my, hold on. Where's my? There we go. I'm going to choose my time wisely. I'm going to invest my time where it is worth investing after I pre-qualify if it's the right move for me. I'm going to use my intuition. You took the intuition course, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get in alignment. I'm going to provide myself the feelings I'm searching for in others to myself. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel inspired. I'm going to feel confident. I'm going to feel secure and sure of myself. And then I'm going to look at said person and trust my intuition, and I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to listen to it when someone who I know off the bat, and trust me, this is not just for you, this is for me too. This is for me too. When I see people in a way they don't see themselves, and I know they don't see themselves this way, and it always ends up that I'm with egg on my face because I believe in them more than they believe in them. And then there you go. So I want you to do what you know you need to do, which is to be in your fullest and attract those people. And when they come to you, and then you pre-qualify, you got to, and there's got to be another word for this, but it's so appropriate in business and in is to pre-qualify people, is to see, are they someone who can hear? Are they ready to hear? Are they ready to do the work? And again, here's a great thing. Maybe you pre-qualify them differently and you do all these things and the relationship still ends, rather than looking at it as, oh, here we go again. Can't you see, well, how did I grow in this? I'm that much closer. When I met my ex-husband for the first time or second time, and we had an amazing conversation and talked about astrology and all kind of metaphysical things. He was actually dating somebody at the time and didn't break up with her. And so, I didn't ever think it was going to be him. And so I kind of let go of that. But what I did was I leveraged, and I know you know how to do this, I milked the good stuff. I leveraged the feeling that I got that, oh my God, there's somebody out there who wants to have these conversations with me. Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so happy. I didn't attach myself to him, and I really didn't. I did not think it was going to be him. I just attached myself to the feeling of hopeful that there's somebody out there that is going to, so you're like that much closer, right? You're like that much closer and that much closer. So each time you're going to get a little better, a little better, and a little better. So if we cannot make it an all or nothing, here's where your Aries wants to make it all or nothing. Oh, well, it didn't work out. I'm bad. Okay. No, you grew, you learned something and you refined, and you're going to keep refining. Even when you get married, you're going to keep refining, because you're going to refine how to be with that person. You're going to refine if you get married. If you're going to refine, if you have children, like it's all a refinement process. It's not an end all be all. It's not an all or nothing. And so when your Aries moon wants to kick you in the pants and just wants to sweep it into generalizations, just say, oh, there I go again. There I go again, trying to make it a simple, like yes or no, black or white. He's wrong. I'm not good enough. He's right. Whatever. No. So I want you to work on taming that Aries moon into a little softer balance of it's not the infant crying because they're not getting their way. All right. Just soothe that part of you and say, it's not that simple. It's not all or nothing. And then if you need to feel your feelings, do that because it's important. Let it go. Nurture yourself in the way that you want to be nurtured. You can ask someone to help you. I mean, like I said this morning, I asked Doug if he'd hold me. You can ask someone to help you. But ultimately, what could you do for yourself to give that to you? So I think you have all of the right tools to do this. I'm going to call you out on the cop out of making it about some broken piece of you that isn't good enough, because I know you know that's not true. So I'm challenging you, Nikki, to step into your greatness, to step into who you really are, and to not play smaller because you think people can't handle it. I want you to, because ultimately, if you have a relationship that you decide you want to get married or be with somebody forever, you want that person to be the right person for you, and the right person who's going to be on the journey with you. It's going to do the work. That's going to, even when times get tough, isn't going to bolt. And you have to test people to get that. You're not going to just get it like off the line and be like, yep, that was the person. Like without it, like your life is going to test you, and your relationship is going to test both of you to see what you're made of. And sometimes it'll work out and sometimes it won't. But ultimately, you know what the key to life is. It's that you need to give to yourself that which you seek in others. So I think you're doing great. Do you have any questions about what I just said? I mean, how does that feel for you?
It feels really encouraging yet hard. Like I really needed that pep talk and like this, you're on the right way. That's really, really cool. And I love it. It's really great. But I don't know, like dating is so hard, especially during COVID and like pre-qualifying and everything. I see how it's necessary, but I also see how it will take work, I guess, which is good because that's what I'm here for. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I don't want to leave you hanging there, because again, when you said, when with relationships, it's hard. Okay. Again, that's a belief that you've just decided that it has to be hard. It's not that it's hard. It's just a process. And again, what is it that you want from a relationship emotionally that we can give you now, so that, again, that the essence of this is when you get whatever you want in a relationship, if you can give it to yourself, you don't need the relationship. And that's when you manifest the right one, because you're not looking for it in someone else. So what are the things you need or want from a relationship right now?
Yeah, but like that's what I thought before I met the last guy. I was so happy. I was so content. I was so in my own essence. I was great. Then I met this guy. It was awesome. And then boom, it hit me all again.
Okay. It's part of the process. The waves come up, they come down, they crash. Surfers go up on a wave, they come down. It repeats all the time. Okay. But can we make one more point about this guy, this last relationship? Was it any better than the last one? Was there any point of it that was slightly more evolved or conscious or hopeful than the last one?
Yes, way better.
Perfect. That's all that you need to know. Rinse and repeat. Keep doing what you're doing. And the next time, hopefully it may be the next one, but it may not be. It may be 3 from now, but you go in aware of that. So if it does end up that it's not the right match, you feel good about what you learned, so you can clarify even more so that you can get better for the next one. So I think that's perfect. And I would encourage you to, again, besides all the things I've already suggested, embrace who you are. Don't play small. Stop playing small and go back to the things that you did before that last relationship of getting yourself to content and happy, because you have the power to do it, and you will only attract the right frequency at that level anyway. So let's go there and just allow and trust that the right and perfect person for the next phase of your relationship life will appear when you don't need them. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes totally sense. Especially the last one, because I noted the question before, like, how do I actually accept it? Like, how do I not harden? But it's so clear. Of course. I just needed you to say it. Thank you so, so much.
You're welcome, Nikki. And for those of you that are listening, so Nikki is part of the Inner Circle membership. Nikki, can you just say a few seconds about like what your experience has been like in the Inner Circle?
Oh, it's awesome. I love it. I would have never expected to be so happy about being a part of a inner circle, because it sounds kind of weird, but it's such a loving and embracing community, and it's so great to be part of the challenges and to just share what's going on and everything. I love it.
Good. I'm glad. And I'm glad that you're in it, and I appreciate you. And I love the growth I've seen in you, and you're going to keep going. And, when you fall down, you may be pissed off for a couple of minutes and pout like a child, like a lot of us do. And then you're going to get up, you're going to brush yourself off, and you're going to do what works. And you're going to get back to claiming who you are. And sometimes it's going to be scary, and sometimes it's going to be painful, because again, not everyone's going to like who you really are, because it can't handle it because it shines light on them and what they're not doing. But I know you know this, and I know you believe all the things. So I'm putting you on task. I'll see you in the group. I'll probably see you in the group on Saturday, right? We have a call coming up on Saturday. So I'll see you in the group. And for anyone who is interested, you can go to jjflizanes.com/inner circle to learn more about. It's a $9.99 membership, but it is going up to $14.99 for new people starting in March 1st. Everybody who's already in gets grandfathered in at $9.99. It will never change as long as you're in. Otherwise, it does go up because I do spend a lot of time. We do a lot of things. And I would say it's pretty cheap coaching and group and everything that you get. So my goal isn't necessarily, it's not even about the money. It's about the commitment. And I again want to also, just like you, attract more people who are actually committed to their growth than they are to either penny pinching or they don't believe in themselves. So, I want people who want to be a part of a community, want to support each other, want accountability, want to work on all the different things that we're working on. So in order to do that, I'm going to raise the bar a little bit. I'm going to say, okay, I'm raising the bar. I want higher vibrating people. And that's so I can ensure this group is a high vibrating tribe, which they are and which you're a part of. So thank you, Nikki. And thank everybody for listening. And Nikki, I'll just make sure that you have anything that I've recommended to you in an email when we're done. Okay?
Yes. Thank you so much.